What happened to the Norenco? Well, I sold it. Not really sold it, but traded it up. And also, if there's a heavy echo, I apologize for that. We're still getting this living situation set up, so there's not a lot of stuff to buffer the sound at the time. So what the fuck? What is this? Well, I like to go to all the pawn shops in the area and just look at what they have. Of course, if you don't do that, it's your own fault. And they had this really, really bad condition Colt model 1903. And this is the shape it's in without, oh God, that's so bad. Without me even having done anything to it. And obviously it needs some attention. Now, whoever did this didn't do a completely awful job. It's pretty bad. Because you can see, especially like right here, the swirls on the metal are indicative of a Dremel. So they either took it to a Dremel or a belt sander and took a lot of the surface off. Now, obviously, the grips were cracked at some point in its life. Now, I don't know the story of this gun. I just know I wanted it. And the reason I wanted it is because it's actually a cousin of that Tokarev. I traded for it. Heel release, a little bit neater. Oh, it doesn't even drop free. That's terrible. That may just be the gun though. But why would I buy something like this? And the reason is, well, I know it's not bad enough shape to not be salvageable. If you look at it, yeah, it has almost no finish left. The surfaces are all fucked up. The sight's beaten. It's obviously had either been beaten on. You can see that's mushroomed. It's just in really bad shape. But the reason I buy something like this is because I know I can modify it without feeling guilty, because it's this fucking close to being scrap metal. And having looked into the guns and having looked at this one, I realized this is actually like a pre-World War I pistol, because it's 16,000. Yeah, I know serial numbers, blah blah blah. 16,000 serial range. So that puts it just before World War One. And I found that out thanks to Scene Arsenal. So thank you guys. I already messaged them on Instagram and said thanks. Videos are great, by the way. I also been wanting a 32 forever, and I wanted something that was cool and not just a ghetto blaster piece, a throwaway gun. And so we have this. And again, I just like to work on guns. Like it makes me happy. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So I traded the Tokarev straight across for it, which I'm very happy about. They actually traded me at a $200 value, which is I'm more than satisfied with. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the pictures I posted, but of course I'll put them in this video, so you can see the finished work to repair. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm really considering getting it tinned, so titanium nitride, so basically it would look gold. I'm going to sand all these surfaces back even. I'm going to see about having the markings, which you can barely see with all the pitting and surface blemish from the dremeling, laser engraved back on. And I'm also going to get a threaded barrel for it. So let's pause, and I'll go ahead and get the slide off. Or actually, it's not, because okay, cool. And again, this is one of the earlier models that has the barrel bushing. That's the barrel. So overall, it's okay. A bit greasy. Ooh, that's pretty bad. But again, I already checked the rifling, and there isn't any. Let me pause and show you that. Yeah. Yeah, that's bad. So that's scrap. Fine by me. So then the slide. Yeah, it's basically the same as the Tokarev on the inside. The lug's a little bit different. It doesn't have the cutout for the ejector. No, it's got a fixed ejector right there. Also, one really terrible thing is that pin there's really fucked up, so I don't know if we'll be able to get it out. We'll see. So what this pin does is it retains the firing pin. So it obviously has a little bit of rust on it. So I'm gonna pull it out, and because we're gonna clean the gun. So since I have a long pin punch, it's acting as a slave pin to retain this. So I put my hand over it, pull it out, and the firing pin ejects itself. And if I remember correctly, it's a two-piece. So they got a long back piece and a short front piece. This is going to get repaired. I have a really strong epoxy at work called Scotch Weld, and it's recoil resistant, or shock resistant rather. So I can just Scotch Weld this whole thing back together. I'm just going to do divots in it, bond it, and then rebuild this. Because that's what I did on the grips of the toke rev, because it had the safety cut out. I just Scotch welded it, sanded it over, and then painted them. This side's fine. I'm just going to scrub it over, I guess. So what I wanted to do with this originally is like, yeah, I'm going to buy it and turn it into a Roland Special 32 Colt 1903 because it'd be. And then I. Oh, cool. That's going out really nice. And then I looked into it and I was like, okay, this isn't actually historic gun. I can't do that. So, but I'm still going to get a threaded barrel for it because I really think a tiny can for this would be like the coolest shit ever. So, oh, that's gross. It's like a fucking Dr. Pimple Popper gun edition. Okay. It's still fine too. And again, this gun is cousin of the toke rev, so a lot of design similarity. That's interesting because this one goes down where the toke rev goes back, and because which doesn't make as much sense because, well, I guess because the toke rev is the pin on the back is curved, so when the extractor flips off the rim, it curves. But this one's a little bit smarter in how it's designed because it just straight up pivots because this plunges on that spring that way. And I'm going to leave that rear sight in there for now because I think it's held in there with the force of 1,000 land whales because it has stuff around it. And I don't know what that stuff is. And I'm not too worried about causing cosmetic defects on the gun for right now just because it's so fucked up and it's really not going to affect anything. Oh, that's nice. See, that's something that's strange. Like on a lot of these guns, even though this gun is old as fuck, in the simplest terms, all the pins are still coming out perfectly, which is great. That may need to be replaced. I'm definitely going to replace the bushing for the barrel though, just because it's in so bad a shape. I don't know if this thing's supposed to be shaped like that. Because that looks kind of wrong. Gosh, look how wrecked that is. It's not even round. It's like someone made a piece of metal and just drilled a hole in it. Another thing I was talking about, you can see just the gun is, even though the outside's ruined, the inside's still pretty good. There's no serious pitting. There's no damage to the internal components. There's no cracks. There's some kind of, I think it's like lithium grease or something all over this pistol. I really can't tell right now. Let me get it's coming out easy. So. Pin's fine. Okay, so that feels like it's under tension. So, oh, it's under a lot of tension. Let's see if I can blind myself. Oh, also, side note, if because I just put out a foul video actually. If you're disassembling a foul trigger group, for the love of God, for the love of your family, put fucking safety glasses on. I've had trigger components yeet out past my face at like Mach 4. And it's predominantly the fucking buffer spring and the you see there's no rust under there. There's predominantly like the buffer spring. It's like the lock for the fucking for the receiver latch will always like shoot out past my face, and it's terrifying. Oh, I don't know how that goes back in. Oh. There we go. Oh, look at that disgusting lithium grease just fucking just in there. And that's hinged. That's the disconnector, which I just push out. Oh, that's fancy. Look at that. Oh, that's super gross. Let's touch it. It almost smells like Play-Doh. That's a... Oh, holy shit, that's like the exact same thing out of the Tokarev. Yes, the disconnector for the trigger group. That's done differently, though. That's very interesting. I don't know why you'd put that much lube on your trigger. These springs are something that are used in very early guns for whatever reason. I don't know exactly because I never cared to look into it. The way with Browning design stuff is everything's really beefy, so it's really strong. So this spring is actually 100 and some years old, and it's in still perfect shape. It still actuates the grip safety like it's supposed to. Still disconnects the sear. Still allows the hammer to do its thing. And with a modern gun, they'd always use a coil spring, but doing this allows such a small compartment for all the working components of the trigger. Oh, that's cool. It just comes right out the back. Yep. Okay, well, this pin's been in there since, well, probably about when my grandmother was born. So I had a grandmother, and she died at like 102. There, it came out no problem. There we go. Now I got some grossness. It's not that bad. That's really fucking bad because that's super deep. I don't know. That's almost like 10 or 12 thousandths deep. But I'm going to go over it with the sanding block and smooth it all out. But there you have it. Your disassembled Colt 1903. Thank you for watching.